Hello, everybody. This is Lawrence Sutton and Chris Morris, and this is the Free Speech News Channel. Happy Friday, everybody. And this is where we are not politically correct, but biblically correct. And as you know, Chris, we discuss two things you are not supposed to discuss, and that's politics and religion. So how are you doing?
Doing great, brother. How are you today?
Man, I can't. If I was any better, I couldn't help myself. You know,
I'm being distracted a little bit. I'm seeing something in front of me. It's got Tennessee orange and the Tennessee gray, the smoky gray.
Yeah.
And it says the Clay Dog Candy Bar.
Well, you know what? That's what I wanted to point out. You know, Todd Warner sponsors our program.
Yes.
And thank you. Shout out to Todd Warner. Thank you so much, Todd Warner. But, you know, Clay he's changing. He's no longer an Alabama fan, I don't think. And he started this Tennessee candy bar company. You know, it's just one of the things that Clay does. So, you know, I just wanted to put it out there, you know, to try to help him out some.
Where everybody can get him. Now, is this with nuts or out?
I mean, no. These particular ones are without nuts, but I'm telling you, if there's Clay Dog involved, there's going to be nuts
involved. There's going to be some nuts involved. That's
absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. So,
Clay, we still love you.
That's right, Clay. You know we love you. I've seen these candy bars, and I'm like, yeah, this is for you, buddy. So, anyway.
Paybacks are dear. Just remember that.
Buddy.
I owe him several. I've heard he's been doing a few little things here lately, so he'll get it sooner than later.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. This is, we got to bring some levity in the situation. And because of the things that are happening in our country, happening in the world, and thank God we live in southern Middle Tennessee. And I'm just going to tell you, Chris.
Yes, sir.
I feel so blessed to live where we live right now. But I tell you, I wanted to start it off, and one of the things I wanted to start it off with is concerning to me, is how we have had the House Republicans, along with all the Democrats, preserve this kill switch bill. Have you seen something on this kill switch bill?
Yes, sir. You have brought me up to speed on this, and this is something you don't hear on mainstream media. It's not being talked about.
No, sir.
So we need to educate people.
We do. So just to kind of fill everybody up, the kill switch bill is mandatory starting in 2026. The government is requiring all car companies to put this, what they call a kill switch. And since 2012, most car companies already have what they call a black box.
Just like a big jet airliner.
Right, where not only is it recording your speed, it's recording what you can do, but a lot of the car companies, if not all of them, can also shut your car down. Okay, now it takes a little bit to do it, and you know, you have to go to the car company shuts it down. But from my understanding, reading about this kill switch bill, Chris, they can actually, based upon your driving, shut you down right then and there because the car is going to sense how you drive. I'm going to tell you something. I have a huge problem with that, especially, you know, starting this time of year when we have deer running out in front of us.
So it's kind of like, you know, it's watching you if you're keeping it between the mayonnaise and the mustard. Between the yellow and white line.
That's correct. But I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, at least when I drive into Lawrenceburg, I'm dodging at least some furry critter.
Yeah, whether it's a skunk, a
dog,
deer,
cat,
or a turkey.
Yeah, I mean, something I'm going to be dodging inevitably.
Or a cow.
Right. So I have an issue, and from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong or, you know, kind of elaborate on what I'm saying, Chris, it seems like that based upon your driving in real time, if the car senses that you're going off path.
Well, they use the word erratic.
Yes, erratic. Yes, and they're trying to say, well, we're doing this because of drunk driving and stuff. Okay, I get it. I understand. You know, we have, I want to say, Chris, we have 20,000 people a year that are killed by drunk driving. Okay, so I can kind of understand it, but I'm not for it. You understand?
I'm following you.
Yeah, I'm just following the logic here. but I don't agree with it. Okay, and I don't want people drunk driving. But you know what? This is crazy. Do you know how many people last year were killed with a rifle of any kind? A long gun. 447 people were killed with a rifle. But yet, what does everybody talk about? AR-15s. They're so dangerous. They are just so dangerous. But we only have 447 people killed, which again is too many. Okay, I get it.
One is too many.
One is too many. But you know what? When we are willing to sacrifice our freedom for safety, listen to me, we deserve neither. None of it. And that was said by Ben Franklin.
That wasn't something that was just said last week.
That's correct.
That was said back in, around 1787?
Yeah, somewhere around then. So I'm very passionate about our Constitution. And anytime somebody wants to infringe upon our Constitution, then I have an issue. Anytime we step out of our homes, there can be danger, granted. Okay?
Anytime we get behind the wheel to pull out of the driveway,
it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Okay, but you know what? I have enough faith in my ability to try as much as I can to avoid accidents. Okay? But I don't want a car, mind you, that is going to dictate how I'm driving and that it's going to shut me down. And see, they haven't even talked about, okay, when can you start it back up again? What needs to happen? Does a cop need to come out and start you back up? I mean,
or you gotta pay somebody to come out there and reset it.
Right. So I mean, what is the mechanism for this?
You know, when you look at this, you know, and my blood pressure just goes up to nearly stroke level, that this government, the federal government, we're not talking about state government, folks. We're talking about the federal government. They're intervening in our lives and creeping in, and they're doing what government is not supposed to do.
That's correct.
They are doing exactly what government was not meant to be. That's the way that's why we separated, one of the reasons we separated from the crown.
Right.
And that's why people came to America. They wanted freedom. They wanted liberty.
We wanted religious freedoms.
And wanted religious freedoms. They wanted that separation of church and state. Everybody takes that out of context. But in England, the state owned the churches.
That's correct.
And they wanted total separation, total freedom, freedom of religion.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chris. We're there now with America.
That's correct.
We have what's called a 501c3.
That's controlling churches now.
That is controlling churches now. I'm sorry, I hate saying it, Chris, but
it's true.
People don't understand how we are dealing with a Gestapo, a communistic country right now. Just because you have freedom to go to Walmart, just because you have freedom to go to the movies, or you have freedom to sit at home,
church,
to sit at home and watch Dancing with the Stars, and you got food in your belly, doesn't mean you have freedom. We don't have freedom. The government is controlling our churches. And that's the reason we're in the mess we're in now. The government has no business in charity. They have no business giving away the people's hard-earned money to take care of somebody else. It should be up to me or you to decide that.
That's another issue.
Yes.
I want to touch on that.
Let's go.
Before we end the show.
No, let's do it now.
I don't want to get away from that. But, you know, for a long time, and I'm a former county commissioner in Giles County, and we decided how to spend property taxpayers' money to give to charity. And I'm going to say the Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
The public library. The Red Cross. It is not a commissioner's job to take your money and give to charity. Period.
Right.
And it makes people mad. They kept trying to add new ones, from the Chamber of Commerce to tourism to this to that. And let me tell you, hotel motel tax. was passed for tourism.
Right.
But a lot of counties or city governments misuse that.
Mm-hmm.
It was strictly set up by an act of the state for tourism.
Yep.
In Giles County, not a penny goes to tourism. And I'm speaking how I feel. And if anybody don't like it, hey, you got my phone, you call me and we'll talk about it.
Right.
But we're taking your money as a taxpayer of Giles County or Lawrence County and donating it to a charity. That is not a county commissioner's job.
Right.
Pure and simple. If you're doing it, you're wrong. You hear me? And if you don't like it, we can discuss it. You can call me and we'll talk about it one-on-one.
Yeah, to me, this right here has nothing to do with our Constitution. It's what we're passionate about. So we can agree on things, or we can agree to disagree on things like that and have good debate.
Yeah.
But where we draw the line at, Chris, is when you start messing with our Constitution.
Yeah.
That's when me and you draw the line. We can have disagreements with all kinds of people.
And good debate.
And good debates and have fun even with it. But when it comes to our Constitution, and that's what I'm telling all of our elected officials, we can disagree. Okay? But I will stand behind you and I will support you as long as you're supporting our Constitution. Now, there's limits to that, mind you. I mean,
correct.
If you go off the deep end and you start doing, really stupid things.
Being like Fetterman up in Pennsylvania.
Well, I mean, I tell you what, I almost feel like that it's elder abuse with what they're doing with Fetterman and what they're doing with Joe Biden and some of these other people. I mean, I'm going down a rabbit trail here, and I didn't want to go here right now, but it's forced me to. People, how do you vote in good conscience for people like this? And I'm even going at it a step further. And here's where I'm going. We're jumping all around today, and that's fine. But we just had the House censor Rashida Tlaib.
Correct.
Okay?
And congratulations. She needs it.
And we had 22 Democrats that actually voted to censor her.
With the Republicans.
And do you know what else? Do you know what else happened? Let me tell you what else happened, which I will be honest with you, it kind of shocked me. And what happened was this. Our lone Democratic, Steve Cohen, is it? Is it Cohen?
Yeah, Steve Cohen over in Memphis, the only Democrat representative in the Congress from Tennessee out of the 9.
So, Steve, I'm going to give you a shout out if you're listening to this program. And I know we have some of our reps, House of Reps, listen to our program.
That is correct.
Steve, thank you for voting against this woman. This woman is not an American. Michigan, okay, I'm just going to put it out there. How can you vote for someone like this that hates America? It's bad enough you vote for Gretchen Whitmer, okay? But how can you vote continually? She's been in 3 times now. We know who this person is. She hates America.
Pure and simple.
Take your butt and go live over there and leave us alone.
Carry her and drop her right in.
No, she just needs to go herself.
Yeah, put her in the Gaza Strip.
I don't care where she goes, but we are not, I don't care what anybody says, we are not a Muslim country. We are a Christian country. And Islam, they teach in their tenets, they are not a peaceful religion, number one. They are an autocrat. Can you say the word for me?
Don't get me because
autocracy.
I thought Floridians could say that better than Tennesseans.
Nah, hey, listen, I don't know. I'm Florida man here, so. But anyway, they are not a religion. They are a government mixed in with a religion. And
with a hatred.
With a hatred. Matter of fact, they even say everlasting hatred.
Allah Akbar is what they love to holler.
Well, Allah Akbar means my God is greater. Okay? My God is greater. So they're already separating. See, they'll tell you, I want you to listen to this, Chris. A Muslim will tell you, oh, well, we worship the same God. We believe in Jesus. But yet, if that's the case, why are they yelling when they are killing innocent people and raping women and beheading babies? Why are they yelling Allah Akbar as my God is greater when you just got through telling me that we believe in Jesus, we believe in God? No. You know what? Can I tell you who Allah is? You can go look this up. Allah is the Egyptian moon god. That is who Allah is. Let me tell you else who Allah is. Allah is Satan. When you go read the Quran, which, by the way, I have read, okay? You go look at the attributes of Allah, and then you go to Isaiah, and you read in the Bible the attributes of Satan, one and the same.
One and the same.
It's one and the same.
You know, the thing about it is we're trying to bring free speech news to everybody, but we're trying to bring everything truthful and educate people. And these are Lawrence and I's opinion. Go study it yourself. I encourage you, educate yourself. And one of the most powerful tools that we never use is learning knowledge through others.
That's right.
But you need, and that's a powerful tool, but you need to be able to fact check what we're saying.
Yes.
And we welcome you to, because you will be surprised. And maybe that old saying, I say the guy Earl Pitts down in Decatur that used to get on the radio station down there, WDRM, and holler, "Wake up, America." Well, people, we've been asleep far too long. And
we are awake, but we ain't woke.
Well, yeah, we're not woke by no stretch of the imagination.
That's right, but we are awake. But let's talk about Tlaib a little bit. She glorifies martyrs. She glorifies people that kill themselves to kill other people. So let me tell you this, and again, most of the martyrs. Do you know why they can get the Muslim to kill themselves, blow themselves up to kill other people? Because they get to take 70. If you're a martyr, you get to take 70 of your relatives to heaven, no matter what they have done. You get your 69 virgins that are perpetual virgins. How that happens, I don't know. But they have a religion of death.
And fantasy. I say death and fantasy.
Death and fantasy. And Jesus, the only thing Jesus ever even mentioned anything about this was he says that there was nothing greater that for a man to lay down his life for his friend. There's no greater friend. It doesn't talk about going and killing other people. It talks about laying down your life. What did Jesus do? Jesus laid down his life for us.
He sacrificed for us.
These people aren't sacrificing themselves. They're killing people.
Right. When you got to talking about the day of the invasion in Israel, the one story that sticks out in my mind, and we talk about people, you need to picture this. It's like drawing a painting. These people go into a family's home. They tie the hands of the husband behind his back. They rape his wife. They put their child in an oven and bake him alive.
I can't imagine.
These people are animals. They need to be wiped off the face of the earth. And wash your hands. I know innocent people are going to be killed, and I hope they have a home in heaven. But these people are here, and they're in our country.
And they hate.
And they hate us. They hate the Christian religion. They're here to kill us.
So, these innocent people that are in Palestine that they keep talking about in the Gaza Strip?
Yes.
Those are the same people that when Hamas was over there killing the Jews.
They were clapping in the street.
And they were celebrating.
And celebrating.
You know what else? Those are the same SOBs, and I said it, that were cheering 9/11 also. People, listen. It is a religion of deception. This always sticks with me. One of the verses in the Quran, and I'm paraphrasing it, I'm not getting it exactly, okay, because I don't study the false, I study the real. But it says, a smile on your face and a knife behind your back.
I just got breaking news.
And let me finish this. And in the Quran, they also say that you can lie to an infidel. Have you ever seen anything in the Bible that says that you can lie?
No. It's lying is a sin. There's no little lie or white lie.
But you can lie to the infidel. Here's the other thing. And again, people, go read it for yourself. But these Hezbollah, Hamas, these people have their own platforms, just like the Democrat and the Republican Party. And they have what is called a Mahdi. Now, the Mahdi is their Messiah, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they teach in Islam that in order for the Mahdi to come back, they have to wipe off the face of the earth all the Jews and Christians. But yet they'll tell you, oh, well, you can be a Christian and live in our country and things like that. And they do. But I'm going to tell you something. If they think they're getting close to their Mahdi coming back and it means killing you or their Mahdi not coming back,
you're dead.
What do you think's going to happen?
You're dead.
You're dead. So what was your breaking news? And
the breaking news, we bounce off, and everybody, we do this raw. We don't rehearse. And, every time you say something, I'm thinking something.
Yeah.
Okay. And the breaking news right now, there are active airstrikes in northern Gaza right now. Israel is tearing Gaza up right now.
And this right now, we're doing this show. It's not live. It's about 11:40 on Thursday morning.
We're having to pre-record this show due to I've got to be at a funeral tomorrow.
That's correct.
And, out of the respect of a good law enforcement friend that was in law enforcement going on 52 years. So this is going on right now as we're sitting here talking.
Mm-hmm. Psalm 83, baby.
It's Psalm 83. Benjamin Netanyahu is nobody. He's a force to be reckoned with.
And I don't know if people realize this, but Benjamin Netanyahu's brother is one of the most famous generals and war heroes in all of Israel. But guess what? So's Bibi, which is Benjamin Netanyahu. That's his nickname, is Bibi. So's Bibi. Bibi was a warrior. Bibi was a bad man. He knows how to fight. Don't let his suit and being 75 years old
and being polished right now.
And being polished and everything. As much as some of us may love Donald Trump, when it comes to war,
he don't play.
Not only he don't play, but Donald Trump has nothing on Benjamin Netanyahu when it comes to knowing war. And I'm going to tell you something. When Benjamin Netanyahu said last week, unlike all
of the other,
all of the Bible heroes, that God gave them the mandate to clear out these people, Amalek and the rest of them, and the Canaanites and the wicked people out of Israel. None of them did it like God asked them to. And Bibi said, even them, even our other heroes since Israel became a nation, has not been able to do it. We're going to do it.
He used Amalek.
He did. He did not say Hamas. He said Amalek
in his speech. And, Amalek are descendants of Esau.
Right.
But, when we're talking about all these different nations over there that are conspiring to destroy Christians and Jews, God's chosen people, in the Bible they were referred to as Tyre.
Yeah.
So this is what's going on, and Benjamin Netanyahu said it well. He's not going to play. He's told people to get out.
He's given the opportunity.
He's going to wipe Gaza out.
He is. And here's the other thing I want to say. I feel for these people, especially the innocent people.
The innocent, right.
I do. But here's the thing. You had a choice, probably.
You made a choice.
Leave. You also had a choice that 80% of them voted for Hamas.
That's right.
And
80% of the people in the country of Lebanon are backing Hamas.
Oh, yeah.
That's terrible. And there's good Lebanese.
We had 100,000 people in Washington, D.C. Sorry, Chris, but here we go. We're going down again. 100,000 people. Nobody in the press is talking about this. And I'm going to tell you something, people. If you go try to Google it, you're going to have a tough time finding it. You're going to have to go to DuckDuckGo. You're going to have to go to some other places.
Babylon Bee.
You're going to have to go to, well, Babylon Bee, they typically make fun of stuff. But
they tell truthful stuff.
They do. But you're going to have to go to other search engines to find these things because Google is suppressing our free speech. Okay? Facebook is suppressing. YouTube, you name it. They are suppressing our free speech. Does any of this sound familiar? Could we say 1939 Germany maybe? That was suppressing free speech? But you have to go look this up. We had over 100,000 people in Washington, D.C., and some of them were climbing the fence of the White House.
Destruction, spray painting statues.
Yes.
That was an insurrection.
You darn straight it was.
January the 6th wasn't, folks. This was an insurrection. And we don't even know. And what got me about the darn Democrats, this is how they try to polarize Americans.
Yes.
That's a good word, polarize.
Yeah.
You know, if you tell a person a lie 10 times, you think it's the truth the 11th time.
Well, that's what Joseph Goebbels said with Germany. Is any of this making sense?
It's all history repeating itself.
Absolutely it is.
It's exactly what's happening. But they said, well, they're expressing their First Amendment right. How do we know them SOBs are legal?
Doesn't matter.
If they're
to me,
not,
they're in this country and they need to go.
They need to go by our rules.
That's right.
But if they're illegal, they have no rights. If they're not here legally, they have no rights. Let's get them the hell out of this country.
Here's the thing, though, Chris. We are being set up by the Biden administration to cause chaos.
That's all this administration. Biden don't even know where he's at. Let's take Biden out of the equation. He's just a puppet. But all this other, his administration is setting us up for total chaos, total destruction. And it started with Barack Obama. Yes, Barry, I'm calling you out. It started with you.
Hope and change.
That's right, hope and change.
We are going to fundamentally change America. You know what else? And this is happening right now, Chris. People forget about what old Barry said when he was running the first time. But Barry said, and you can go look up this speech, and people were cheering this speech.
Oh, yeah.
And he was going, we're going to have a private army that is going to be more powerful than our regular army inside of America. And you know what? Look at what the Biden is doing with the DOJ, the Department of Justice.
He's weaponizing them against Americans.
Against Americans. And you know what? I'm going to tell you this. They're even going after their own right now. They just did it with Eric Adams.
In New York.
In New York. Okay, so Eric Adams, I'm sorry, people, we'll get back to this other stuff, but we're going down rabbit trails. Eric Adams was flying to Washington, D.C. He's tweeting it out that he is going to talk about all of these sanctuary cities. They need money to take care of these people.
They got an emergency crisis.
They have an emergency crisis. He was going to Washington, D.C. to ask for $5 billion with a B dollars to take care of what he said was like 150,000 refugees. Okay, I love how they use these names. No, they're illegal aliens, is what they are. Okay.
Open borders.
But you know what? I hadn't done
Thank
the
you,
math.
Biden.
I haven't done the math on this, but I'd like to do the math. You need $5 billion for 150,000 people. I wonder how much that works out to. I guarantee it's a lot.
How
I
much
guarantee
is
it's not.
lining his purse strings?
I don't think. Here's the thing. I don't think anything's lining these purse strings, going and asking for the money. I really don't, because while he's on this airplane, Chris,
Oh, they came in and raided him.
They raided him, saying that he might have gotten money from Turkey for his campaign.
For campaign funds.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I think it was? I'll tell you what I think it was. I think he's been getting money in the past, and the big guy didn't get his 10%. That's what I think. Because what about all this money Hunter Biden got? And see, we always pick on Hunter, okay? Hunter's an easy target. But you know what? There's more to the Biden crime family than just Hunter. You got Joe Biden's brother.
You got a lot of smoke out there.
You do. I mean, it's not just old Hunter. Hunter just happens to be the dumbest one, because he's taking these laptops in to get fixed when he's doing probably child porn on there. Because,
or is there coke?
Well, doing coke, he's doing all kinds of things on there. And we got on there, we got 10% for the big guy.
For old Joe.
For old Joe. And so,
but you don't hear the media, the MSNBC, the CNNs,
Communist News Network.
You don't hear them talking about this. You really don't hear Fox talking about it.
Well, you know what? And this is the crazy part, is they are doing it on purpose. They have, if you take this aspect, people said that if you do not believe, okay, which I do, but if you don't believe that the election was stolen, that the ballot boxes were stuffed, even if you say you don't believe that, okay, here's the facts. Because the FBI and the DOJ went to Twitter, Facebook, and everybody else and suppressed the information that was coming out about Hunter receiving money, Joe Biden receiving money, about the laptop, that everybody was saying, oh, it's Russia, okay? People said that they would have changed their vote, and it was high enough amount of people that would have changed their vote that if they knew about this, Donald Trump would be president right now.
Well, we also had ballot harvesting too.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, the ballot stuffing.
Yeah. And whether people like it or not, in Atlanta, prime example.
Why does someone, and they got this, I mean, all you got to do is go watch
at
2000
1:27 a.m. Eastern time.
And has a couple of hundred ballots. And he's stuffing them in these ballot boxes.
And they're falling on the ground.
But it's not just one. They're watching this car go to numerous, and they just keep stuffing.
He went
not
to
just he.
like 20-something different locations.
Yes, but I don't want to say just he. You know why they call it 2,000 mules? Because they identified 2,000 different people that were doing this.
That were out there doing that. For folks who really don't understand what a mule is, go watch Clint Eastwood's movie, The Mule. He was a drug runner in the movie, and they're called a mule. These are ballot runners, and they're called a mule.
Well, I tell you what else is another name for a mule, and I'm going to say it because Jesus says it in the Bible even. They're called jackasses.
And that's what the Democrats have as their logo.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm sorry, Chris. I had to go there.
Hey, we got to break the monotony. Think about it.
I mean, but this is how my mind goes. This is how it thinks. I mean, I just, oh my goodness. So anyway, I got to get back to Tlaib here. So we were censored. We had 22 Democrats that censored her. And she is saying, and people, you got to understand, it is from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And this is one of the sayings that they're saying. But you know where this saying came from? This saying came from Hamas and Hezbollah, talking about killing all the Jews so there is no longer a Jewish state. That is what that means. She is out there chanting this. She is out there chanting glory for martyrs. This woman hates our country, and we have people in Michigan that have voted for her now 3 times. What is wrong with you people? Or are they really voting for her? I mean, I hate saying this, Chris, but I mean, I don't trust our election process anymore. Why have we gone to computers? I'd much rather have the hanging chad now. And I start looking back. I'm from Florida. I know about the hanging chad.
Yeah, Florida created that problem.
And you know what else? You know what created that problem? Let me tell you something.
Al Gore.
Everything happens for a reason. But they made such a big deal out of the hanging chads. What did they do? They sold us on this bill of goods. Let's go to electronic voting. God, are we stupid?
You know, just recently I was privy to Russia's elections through a friend who was actually in Russia as one of the Americans to see their election process.
Mm-hmm.
Their election process, they're so much further ahead of the U.S., and they're a communist country, than we are. They actually...
No, they really... I'm sorry.
But you got to understand where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, this is unrehearsed.
Yes.
They actually have you on video voting. You're on camera. And there's no way that that person can vote twice.
And all we want people to have is an ID.
An ID.
And be an American citizen.
Well, I have to have an ID to drive. Think about that. I have to have a real ID to fly.
I'm just telling you. But you know what? Here, it's kind of funny. Yeah, you do have to have a real ID to fly, which I don't have a real ID because I'm not going to get it. And I'm not going to fly. I mean, but that's just my choice.
Well, that's your right. That is your right.
It is. But, you know, here's the crazy part about that. I really believe, and again, this is just my opinion, the people of Russia have more freedoms than we do. I will tell you this, what Russia has that America doesn't. Say what you want about abortion. That was great that it put it back to the states, but we still have abortion going on. Okay? To me, abortion should only happen if the mother's life is at stake. That's it. That's the only thing.
Like a tubal pregnancy or something of that nature. That's what you're saying.
If the mother's life, I would not want. Now, most mothers will choose that baby over their own lives. We see it all the time. True mothers. Okay? Not people that just shack up and got pregnant and they look at it as a thing, not a human life. But I wouldn't want anybody to make that choice, or not be able to make that choice, I should say.
But Russia don't have abortions.
Well, they don't, except when the mother's life's in stake. You know what else Russia doesn't have? They don't have homosexual marriage.
Or homosexual marriage. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you something, Chris. I might be a little bit liberal on this when it comes to the homosexual. And I'm going to let me explain.
You saw my facial expression.
Yeah, I did. But I want to explain this because we are commanded to love all people. And the reason I preach this so much is because they are coming after our children. And I don't like it. And you sit there and people say, they don't come after your children. Well, explain this to me.
How do they procreate?
Well, not only how they procreate, but I want to give you some stats here. You take Gen X, which I'm part of, okay? You take the greatest generation. You take all of these generations that they put in, the millennials. The homosexuality is between 2 and 5%. And it goes up as we get younger. Okay? Gen Z. Take a wild guess. How many percentage of Gen Z identifies as a homosexual?
Greater than 30.
Well, no, it's not that much. It's actually 20%. But that's... how is it that we can go from 2 to 5% to 20% if you're not being indoctrinated. And I'm sorry.
Culture.
I'm sorry, but these are the stats. This is the truth. So I'm hard about that because you're coming after my child. The hate speech is not speaking out against homosexuality, just like me and you would adultery, a liar, a murder, or anything else. The hate speech is the people that say you can live in your sin and you can still go to heaven. And the churches are telling them this now. It's not just the atheists. It's not just the Satanists or anything else. Even the churches are telling these people that you can live in your homosexuality. Okay, you can live in it. And you're going to go to heaven. So I say all that to say this. Two people, no matter how much I disagree with it, this is America. Okay? And that's why I say I'm liberal about this. I believe that these people should have the same rights to exist as heterosexuals do. But it does not need to involve marriage. Marriage is very plain.
Between a man and a woman.
Between a man and a woman. God tells us this, Adam and Eve. And then Jesus even tells us, people say, well, Jesus never spoke about homosexuality. Well, guess what? He didn't speak about adultery either. He didn't really speak about fornication. He just said that marriage is between a man and a woman, and that there is nothing to be outside of that marriage. So Jesus didn't have to explain this because guess what? 2,000 years ago.
He didn't give you multiple choices.
2,000 years ago, people had more common sense.
Right.
But I'm going to say I say all that to say this, though, Chris. I keep going down. Should these people have the ability to pass on their assets to their partner? Yes. Should these people, if they're dying in a hospital or something, should they be able to have access to that? Not spouse, but that other person that they're with. Partner. Yes. Okay, they should. But it should be a business arrangement, not a marriage. And that's the other thing that the church has done, is that they have turned over the marriage to our government. Government has no business in our marriage even.
That started, we have Obama to thank for that as well.
We do. So I just want to clear everything up, that I want to see all people go to heaven. And I don't care if you say you were born this way. Jesus told Nicodemus, you're laughing because you know where I'm going with this. Jesus told Nicodemus we must be born again in order to enter the kingdom of heaven. We were all born of sin. We were all born into sin.
We were born free of sin, but we were born into sin.
That's correct. So here's the thing, Chris. What about you, me, other men that we know, heterosexual men? Do other men, if they go out and they cheat on their spouse, have they not created or committed a sin?
It's adultery.
It is adultery. If you have sex outside of marriage, before you got marriage, it's called fornication.
Fornication, yes.
Okay? Those are all sins. And guess what? We were all born to, and not all of us did, but a lot of us, we fornicated. Okay? And Jesus tells us that even if we look at a woman in lust,
it's fornication.
We've already committed adultery.
Adultery in our minds.
In our minds even. So why should I or you or anybody else, especially the church, tell a homosexual that it's okay for you to live in that sin? And what has happened? What has happened is we now have pride. We're going to throw it in your face. We're going to come after your children. And we're going to recruit your children. We're going to put these pornographic books in there.
In the schools.
In the school system.
In the public library.
And I'm going to tell you something. I promise you this. If we catch any of these books in our school, I will get a hold of that book and I will read that book in front of the school boards. And you will listen. And if you try to shut me down, we're going to have a big problem because you're going to be arrested at that point. I want everybody to know this. I need you to listen to me now.
Yeah, there's a law on the books in Tennessee.
Not only is there a law on the books in Tennessee on this, but there's also, I'm not saying our school board necessarily, but there's a lot of school boards that are shutting people down when these parents are reading these books out there.
In Tennessee.
Yes. They're reading these books and they're being shut down, and they're the ones being arrested for putting out pornography. But if it's in our schools, it's okay. I mean, people, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what we are doing here and how we will say what is evil is good and what is good is evil. Just what Isaiah prophesies, what God prophesied would happen in the end times. Don't you see this? So,
I sit there and we gravitate off of each other. And people have used the same thing, that our Constitution is outdated. The Bible hasn't kept up with the time. And of course, we know what the good Lord said about that. But at the same token, we even got lawmakers right here in our state that tried to twist what the law that they voted to pass actually says. They tried to
it's what the definition
opine.
of is. It's what the definition of is.
Is.
I know, but they try to twist the words. And people try to twist words. And they do not tell the truth.
Or move a comma.
They do not tell the truth.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's not being truthful, Chris. And that is what is killing us.
We got a whole lot of good points, and I want to wrap. We got, 10 minutes.
Yeah, we got 8 minutes.
And the fastest hour in radio, folks.
I know.
Try it sometimes. You'll understand. Thank you again, Todd Warner, for sponsoring our show. We greatly appreciate it. Want to give a shout out before we forget about it. But I just got this from a colleague, a friend of mine. We served as county commissioners together when I was on the county commission. Mm-hmm. And he just wanted a good talking point he wanted to share with me that he thought would be good for you and I. And even on Kip's show. He said, we just recently had a college student at Belmont, 18 years old, killed by a thug. And he said, here's what the problem is in our country. Our problem is not guns or law enforcement, period. Our failure is the judicial system. He said this guy should have been incarcerated long term that committed this heinous act. And these judges need to be focused on individually and called out. He agrees with calling out lawmakers. He agrees, but he says we need where everybody's missing a point. And I do agree with him. It's these darn judges. And it all goes back to that same movement where they were trying to defund the police. Spoke to a guy in Memphis who's a Memphis cop, black gentleman, great guy. And he said, these idiots over here, including Justin Pearson, talk about defunding the police. He said, man, I just want to slap him. And this is...
But Justin Pearson and Justin Jones, because of how they've acted.
They're activists.
Okay, well, and how they're acting and everything, they feel like that they have to have armed security for them.
Oh, yeah, they had it up at
rules for me, not for thee.
They had it up at the special session bodyguards.
Did. Yes. I've seen it.
I've seen it. Me and you both seen it.
But you know what? Not only they're activists, but they're also what we used to say, you have a Chihuahua mouth and a bulldog butt. I'm sorry.
Hummingbird.
No, I'm sorry. I did it wrong. Okay. You have a bulldog mouth and a Chihuahua butt, because these people, they can't back up what they're saying.
That's right.
And so that's why they have to have armed security. You look at Kip Capley. I know for a fact.
Old Cutter Kip.
I know for a fact, and it may be more, but I want to go on facts, that Kip has had his life threatened 2 times already, where people have emailed him or they have called him saying that they're going to kill him. Kip. Good old Kip. I mean, but you don't see Kip going out and getting armed security, do you? You know why?
No.
Because Kip doesn't have a Chihuahua butt.
Kip's not afraid.
Kip's not afraid. And you know what else? Violence comes to Kip. I'm going to tell you, you're going to have a bad day if you're bringing the violence to him.
That's a promise.
That is a promise.
It's not a threat.
No.
It's a promise.
No, the threat is saying you're going to go do something.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, if you do something, but I'm trying to give a difference in how these people are, is that they'll go and Kip doesn't even really run his mouth. But even if you're liberal and you think Kip runs his mouth, okay, but you don't see Kip run around with armed security, do you?
Yeah, yeah. You know, we started out, and folks, like we say time and time again, don't want to be redundant, but this is the fastest hour that I ever deal with is when we're on the air. But we talked about these kill switches.
Yeah.
And where I want to go with this just happened the other day, and we had I was trying to figure out who are the 19 Republicans in the House that joined forces with the Demis to get this to pass.
Right.
And this is costing that. You know, the government's it's not their business to tell an automaker, you got to put seatbelts in a vehicle. You got to put backup cameras in a vehicle. Now they're wanting front cameras. Now everything that these idiots are mandating to the automotive industry
Mm-hmm.
is coming right down to you and I.
Well,
money.
We're going to pay it. I mean, we're going to pay for it. But I am very passionate about seatbelts, and I'll tell you why. I was involved in 2 car accidents when I was younger, where the highway patrol told me if I had my seatbelt on, I'd have been dead.
Those statistics don't get reported.
Now, you want to know, but I tell you what statistics do get reported. And
if you're not wearing a seatbelt.
Go look this up. More people each year, and this is the Department of Transportation, die with seatbelts on than not.
That is correct. But you don't hear about it.
You don't hear about it.
It's not on the front page of paper.
Victoria's family, they had a friend down in Florida that was actually involved in a car accident wearing a seatbelt. And the seatbelt, because of how it was and how she was in the seat, it decapitated her. So it's all about freedom. Here's another thing. If seatbelts, hang on. Let me tell you this. If seatbelts are so important, why don't we put them on school buses? If seatbelts were to save lives, why don't we put them on school buses?
You got a valid point.
So why is it that a motorcycle cop who doesn't wear a seatbelt and has no metal around him can pull me over and give me a seatbelt ticket? Tell me how that makes sense.
It don't. It's, we've let people chip away like a little iceberg.
Yes.
Chip away the ice little by little and get a hold of mine and your freedom and everybody's freedom.
And that's why I'm so passionate about the Second Amendment, Chris.
Listen, we got about 30 seconds left.
Yep.
Take
us out.
Hey, listen, I've enjoyed it. Always enjoy your great company. Enjoy our 12-year-old producer. And it's a lot of fun. And listen, cooler weather's coming in, and let's pray for some rain.
Yes.
because we need it. There's been a lot of fires in Lawrence County particularly, and we're dry, folks. So anyway, God bless the U.S., God bless the great state of Tennessee, and God bless everyone that listens to our program.
Amen. Goodbye, everybody.